Introduction to Slavery. This lesson is going to teach you the vocabulary you need to talk about this period of history when there was slavery. And the first word that you need to know is property. Property is something valuable that a person owns, like land or a house or a car. So this person who owns this house has a piece of paper that says this is his property. The person who owns this car has a title. This piece of paper says this is her property. After you buy a car, that is your property, and you are responsible for it. So this is a little activity. There are actually 10 questions. Take a minute, pause the video, and write the numbers on a piece of paper 1 through 10. And for each one, just write yes or no. Which of these things can be a person's property? Ready? Land? Yes, that can be property. A car? Yes, that's property. A truck? Same as a car? Yes, that's property. How about money? Can money be property? I'm going to say yes on that one. And then a child. Can a child be property? I hope you said no for that one. Property is for things, not for people. Here's number 6 through 10. Pause the video if you want. What do you think about these ones? A building? Is that property? Yep. How about a horse? Can a horse be property? Yes. A tractor? Yes. A smartphone? Yes. How about a worker? If someone works for you, that is not your property. People cannot be property. So this word property is quite important when we talk about this period in history. The next word is slavery. Slavery is a system where people are considered the property of other people and are not free to do what they want. This is a system where people are forced to work with no pay. So you can see in this picture, these men are being held in chains. They don't want to be here, they have to be here. This man, they've put a chain around his neck. And in this case, these people are being forced to work. This situation is slavery. Slavery has existed in different parts of the world. The next word you need to know is slave. So a slave is a person who is forced to work with no pay and is not free to leave. Slavery is a situation, but a slave is a person. And here's an example. I can say the life of an African American slave was a very difficult life. The next word is slave trader. This is a person who buys and sells slaves as a business. So in this picture, who is the slave trader? This guy. He's trying to sell these 2 women to, someone who wants to buy them. The slave traders became rich by kidnapping people in Africa and selling them in America. Slave traders. The next word is slave owner or slave master. Both of these words mean the same thing, and this is different from a slave trader. This is a person who owns slaves and who uses slaves for work. Slave masters had total control over the lives of their slaves. So you can see in this picture, this is the slave master. Take a look at these pictures, and for each one, write the word that goes with the picture. Pause the video if you need time so you can write the words on a piece of paper. Ready for the answers? Number 1 is slavery. 2, slave trader. 3, slave master. And number 4 is slave. The next word is overseer. Overseer. A person who watches workers to make sure that they work hard. A supervisor or manager. That's an overseer. So in this picture we have two overseers. This is one and this is the other. Here's a sentence. In the times of slavery, the overseers could be cruel. Slaves were often scared of the overseers. You can see this overseer is beating a slave. This overseer is carrying a whip. The next word that you need is a slave catcher. A slave catcher. This is a person who searches for slaves when they have escaped. These people usually used dogs to try to follow the scent of the escaped slaves. So the dogs had really good noses. They could try to smell where a person went. So in this picture, who is the slave catcher? Well, I would probably guess that this man and this man and these four men here are all slave catchers. There's 6 of them. This man is a slave, and this is the slave owner, that he's paying money to the slave catchers, I believe. So for this sentence, 6 slave catchers caught this man in the middle of the night. His master is giving the reward money, and they will divide it between them. Here's a little bit of practice. Do you remember the English word for this? Slave. How about these people? Slave catcher. This man? A slave trader. How about him? A slave master. If you said slave owner, that's also correct. This one starts with an O. Overseer. The next word that you need is farm. A farm is a piece of land that people use to grow plants or animals for food. So if I have a little house and then I have some land where I'm growing some pumpkins, then I have a farm. My family has a small farm outside of Manteca. Plantation is a similar word. A plantation is a very, very big farm owned by a family with lots of money. So a plantation usually had a big house like this. You can see how different it is. This is a plantation house, and then they have lots of land. They have lots of workers. This is a plantation. It's a very, very big farm. Some rich plantation owners had hundreds of African slaves. So, does the picture show a farm or a plantation? I hope you got 1, farm, 2, plantation. Can you do more? 3 is plantation, 4 is farm. Okay, what do you think? Farm or plantation? Number 5 is plantation. You can see how many people are working there. Number 6, also plantation. So in this lesson, we have learned 9 new vocabulary words. Do you understand these words now? And can you explain them to others? If you want, repeat these words after me just to practice the pronunciation. Property, slave, farm, plantation, slave trader, slave owner, slave master, slave catcher, and slavery. That's it for this lesson. I hope this helps you understand the lessons that are coming. If you have any questions, please bring them to our next class.